What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction. I'm back with some more acid dub techno, and another one from the master, from the champion Jah Scoop. But this is another one that he's done with vocalist Jago. I believe both of the first two Sonic Iration releases featured a Jah Scoop with Jago track, and so we're dealing with live recorded vocals, not a sample. And yes, I very much have enjoyed the collaborations they've done already. I haven't actually listened to this. It's on Furious Wax Modular, and it's the second Furious Wax Modular release. Furious Wax Modular being a sub-label of Irish acid techno label Furious Wax, run by Nesbit, so shout out to him and all people involved. I do very much enjoy the logo here for Furious Wax Modular. And yes, this is Dub, Reggae, and Ska Specials Volume 1. I like both parts of that. People who know this channel will know that anything in the reggae/ska umbrella territory is something which will have my interest. I like reggae and ska in all of its many stylings. And I love that it's listed as Volume 1, which would suggest at the very least that there are plans for multiple volumes after this. So yes, once again, shout out to Nesbit for Furious Wax, shout out to Jah Scoop for all of his many productions in the acid dub style, as well as Jago for the vocals, which again I haven't heard in this case, but I've heard multiple tracks that he's done with Jah Scoop before, and I just love the way he flows on top of the beat. And yes, this is called Best in the Business, which feels very appropriate, not only for Jah Scoop specifically, but these two in terms of making tracks with live vocals in this style. So let's get to it. This is from 2025, I should mention, and it's also published by Flat Life, so shout out to Yop or Jack Wax. And here we go. This is Jah Scoop featuring Jago, Best in the Business, from Furious Wax Modular 2, 2025. And again, this is the Dub, Reggae, and Ska Specials Volume 1 release.
Shall come over. On again. Ready with the one Jah Scoop. Do the job.
Like that echoed little acid stab. Little drum rhythm. That classic Geezer Jah Scoop kick.
me on the energy, energy, energy. Energy, give me on the energy.
Layered acid. Tune. So many things to say. I'll try to keep it all in the front of my brain here. A long fade out. Which means, not a bad track to end a set on. Sometimes if it's just, literally just ends on a kick and then a hat and that's it. It's like, there's not a sense of conclusion, which is to say it could be a great tune, but not a tune I would end a set with. I feel like whether it's a party or a mixtape or an online mix that you post somewhere, ending a set with a track that has a sample or that has a long fade, it's a nice way to bring tie a ribbon on the end of the set. But okay, so number one, not as many vocal or lyrical lines as a couple of the other collaborations he's done with Jago. I'm thinking of Roadblock, that there's a lot more lines in that one, which isn't a criticism of this, but it's more about like vibes here. It's more about the repetition of some of the lines and those echoed vocals that then spread out over the next measure. And I enjoy again that little siren synth that has a nice touch to it. There's a really great moment when we get the main breakdown and the drop comes back in, and the Jago vocal, I believe, is closed off. It's sort of muffled and closed off, and then it slowly opens, so by the time you get to the next measure break, it's fully open and clear and in the front of the track, whereas again it sort of like takes the intervening or the the previous 30, 40 seconds, whatever it is, to turn around and to open up again. So I like the stylings of that moment. Again, all the typical Jah Scoop features that you know, the nice incorporation of reggae keys, the little drum flourishes at the measure changes, the, again, echoed sounds, the layered acid, that deep foundational acid with the higher pitched and flaring or flourishing acid on top of that. So yeah, all the features that make this great. I was thinking, and I'm trying to remember the name of it, it might be Ganja Man. There's a tune, I think by Nesbit, the guy who runs Furious Wax, on Beery's Planet Techno. I think it's called Ganja Man, and something about the acid work in that one feels like it could blend with this tune very well. Let me just confirm that is in fact the case. Because, as I said, I think, if I'm recalling the tune correctly, yeah, I think I'm right. No, it's called Champion Dub. That's what it's called. It's called Champion Dub. That track, I think, could blend with this very, very well. So, yeah, in the next acid dub techno set I may try to mix from Champion Dub into this one or vice versa. In any case, once again, shout out to Nesbit, shout out to Jah Scoop, shout out to Jago, as well as all acid techno on vinyl and acid dub techno on vinyl. So again, shout out both to the, main force of that movement, which is to say Jah Scoop, but also Benji, as well as to Chris and others, who put out records, and Flat Life also, they distribute some of these releases. So yeah, basically shout out to everyone in the acid techno world who is involved with putting these tracks on vinyl, whether they're straight up acid techno or acid dub. Let me know what you think. I will see you next time. Peace.